Hello everyone, my name is Ying Wang. This is the Teach One session for Cultural Control Charts in hap725 at George Mason University. In this session, we are creating a chart to examine if the additional of new personnel in the emergency room has led to a decline of excessive boarding times. Before diving into the solution, I would like to clarify several explanations. First, what is the excessive boarding time? It means that patients waiting in the emergency room for the next step in their care in excessive of 6 hours from their arrival. The cause of excessive boarding times are insufficient personnel in the emergency room to meet the demand of care. In this case, hiring more people will lead to a decline in the excessive boarding times. There are two other reasons. One is the imaging backup, and another one is that there's no beds available for patients to complete the check-in to hospitals. Based on these two reasons, we divided the patients into four stratas. One is there's no imaging backup, and there are available beds. The second is there is an imaging backup. The third one is there's no beds available. And the fourth one is there is an imaging backup and there are no beds available. Now let's create the chart step by step. Step 1, we need to calculate the average of control. As shown in the screen, it is the average of each strata for the control cases. Step 2 is to calculate the weights, which is use the number of the cases divided by the average control of each strata. And step 3 is to calculate the weight control. This is the sum product of average control column and the weights column. Step 4, in order to have a better view, we expand the size of each cell in the Excel file. We needed to calculate the weighted excessive boarding times. It is the sum product of the average of pre-intervention excessive boarding columns and the weights column. And step 5 is to calculate the probability, which is simply calculate the ratio between the weighted excessive boarding and the total weight control. Step 6, based on the probability and total number, we can calculate the standard deviation. The square root of the product of probability, 1 minus probability, divided by the total weight control. Step 7, after this we can calculate the weighted control limit. The lower limit is the probability minus 3 times of the standard deviation, and the upper limit is the probability plus 3 times of the standard deviation. Step 8 to 10 is to calculate the unweighted probability and limits. Instead of using the weighted control total cases and the excessive boarding times, we're using the unweighted values and calculate the probability, standard deviation, and the limits. The final step is to plot the chart. The unweighted probability is the observed rate. Based on this chart, we can see that there's no obvious change between the control and the cases, which is post and pre-interventions. So the conclusion is that hiring new personnel in the emergency room hasn't led to a decline of excessive boarding times. Based on the data, insufficient personnel is not the key reason of this issue. Thank you, everyone.